Ooh.
Well, I do have a couple new Supremos to welcome.
Oh, yay.
Desiree and Andrew.
Wow. Welcome.
They're a couple.
Desiree,
and so
Andrew, welcome.
if y'all want to send us separate surprise shot requests, that is totally cool. You can message us either on Discord or Patreon is easier. I don't get as many messages on there, so easier for me to watch. Did we already do a shot for Daniel? I think we did.
I think we did.
All right. So then this one, sorry, Daniel, if we didn't, we'll get you next time. This one is for Shane, aka Austin.
Surprise shots. Surprise shots. We don't know what they are because they're a surprise. Cheers.
Suck it down.
That was way smoother than I thought it was going to be.
Dude, does that have any alcohol in it?
Yeah, it was those.
That was pineapple moonshine.
That's not fucking moonshine.
It's the moonshine soaked pineapples, so the pineapples are more potent.
Yeah, and that's why I made a pineapple drink, because there was.
Let me see it.
There ended up being like no pineapple, no liquor to cover the pineapples, and it was going to make the pineapples go bad. So I had to make a pineapple drink, and the pineapple drink that we are drinking is
if the moonshine bottle says the word moonshine on it, it's not moonshine.
We know it's not bathtub moonshine.
It doesn't smell like rat poison.
Understood. This is delicious, though. So this is pineapple juice.
Can we eat these?
Yes, that's what I put in the drink too.
Oh, we're gonna get fucking banged if we eat these.
Here, that's why I grabbed the fork.
Eat them, Jen.
They're in this drink too.
Here.
How many will you eat?
I don't know. I put
like 10 in here.
I have to chaperone a student event later. I can't.
I know, right?
Courtney, have your husband and John meet, because I think they will get along swimmingly as well.
Swimmingly.
So he's in. Y'all are in like Columbia, right?
Oh, she's in Columbia?
Around there, roundabouts, somewhere in South Carolina, or is it Florence?
What's your husband's name? John.
Perry. Awkward. Sister wife. Okay, so this was pineapple juice.
So you put something in it?
Not the shot, the drink.
Oh.
I made you a cocktail. The cocktail is pineapple juice, Diet Sprite,
Ooh, okay.
Malibu, regular rum, and then the moonshine soaked pineapples.
All right, tonight we're going to November 20th, 2006, and I don't know if anyone's heard this story. It's a crazy story. I wanted to do something a little light. I will tell you that I did a lot of research this week on a certain mobster, and I'm going to do his story, but I read his memoir, and after I read it, I found out it may be fake because the guy died 40 years before he wrote it.
That's calling into question some consistency issues.
So I was a little upset this week, I'm not gonna lie. But I'm still going to present it as fact, even because we don't actually know, because he says he's the real mafia guy. And
that sounds like something a fake writer, autobiographer would say, no, don't you think?
I honestly don't know. They look pretty similar.
Wait, are we doing that now or
no.
Later this week?
I'm going to, what I had to do is actually read a real biography on him, and I'm going to compare notes, and we're going to.
Oh, interesting. You can do a real, dissection of whether it's real or.
He says he's the real guy, the real legit guy. So tonight I just picked another random story, which I don't think anyone's heard before. We're going to go here. All right.
Cool. The highway. No. Is that a water sanitation plant?
No, but good call. So where is this at, Jen? All right. So South Africa. All right, just kidding.
That's the Great Lakes.
Mm-hmm. Michigan.
All right. Let me turn the world
Nova Scotia.
Around. No, babe. This is the United States. The world's turned around. We're going to Atlantic City tonight.
Oh, New Jersey.
Oh yeah. See, here's the why do
this is.
I don't know why.
No, I thought we were going around.
There it is.
I don't know why they start me like that, man. Why do they start it like that?
I don't know.
Like they should always start with America front and center. I mean, it's like the most important one.
Yes. I mean, have you ever thought about that before? I took a class my senior year of college. I was a poli-sci major.
Were you in Russia at this point?
No, my Russian politics course was sophomore year. It was awesome. But it was called globalization from a non-Western lens, and like the first class talked about how, like, have you ever thought about we're the Eastern and Western hemisphere? Like, what point of view is that from?
Oh yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah. So if aliens
Center
land...
where we view ourselves to be like the center of the fucking world.
We are, though. Kind of.
But that's the whole point.
Hey, it's positive thinking, man. If you think it, it'll come to fruition.
Well, no, think about it. Like in Europe, what do their maps look like? I mean, not maps.
Wait,
I know the maps look the same.
I can answer that.
No. But I mean, like, do they, when they're pulled down their pull down maps, do they show Europe?
I can answer that. I can answer that. Who gives a shit? Because America is the only one that matters. So
spoken like a true American. Congratulations.
No, they always say, all right, so if aliens were to land, where would they land? Obviously in front of the White House. Like, aliens would fucking know.
They know where the power is, man. They know.
But all
they
the
know
movies,
who the boss is.
But the aliens have some sort of contract with the government, so obviously they're going to come to America.
True.
With the government, as in the United States government, because there's other governments out there.
But I meant our government.
Like the gray, gray people
But
and the reptilians.
But the fact that you said the government as if there was only one world government, and that's the United States government, is the problem.
No, that's not, because you said that they were going to land in America. So therefore, the subject of that sentence is America.
Hey, I just gotta say,
English
props
lessons.
that we went all the way here just from the map being turned upside down. Yes, gotta love it.
We're in Atlantic City right here. This is the exact spot we're going to tonight.
The Trump Casino.
This is
I've never been to Atlantic City.
Me neither.
if you wanted to buy some serious meth, you would
Probably go here.
Yeah, because this is nothing but seedy hotels and good times.
But this is Atlantic City? This looks like a torn down building or something.
It was probably the Trump Casino.
No, Trump Casino is east this way.
Oh,
this is Atlantic
definitely
City.
looked it up.
No, the Trump Plaza's over here.
Okay, so this is like going.
Yeah.
It's like the.
It's the outskirts. So
Yeah.
Atlantic City is over here. Has anyone been to Atlantic City? Or bought drugs there or something? All right, so I guess it's known for its wild parties.
Gambling.
GTL.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, that's the Shore. That's different. Or is it around the same area?
I would assume. I don't know.
It is around the same area. Yeah, Joyzy. Yeah. We're actually going to this spot right here. If you see on this map, and I'll put this on talkmurder.com, what do you think this was? This is torn down now.
A hotel casino.
Not a casino, just a really shady hotel. I'll show it to you right now. So that was torn down.
It's like a motel.
Yeah, it's a motel.
Holiday
Motel.
Inn.
Mm-hmm.
So that motel right there is no longer there. It was torn down. And like I said, tonight we're going to November 20th, 2006. There was a 911 call that came in to the Egg Harbor Township Police Dispatch. That is the city that oversees a lot of this case. And this 911 call was a female, and she said the following.
Me and my friend were taking a walk on the path by the railroad tracks. There's a dead woman down there.
Oh.
So like I said, this 2006, the exact location is 8030 East Black Horse Pike. Two friends walking along the dirt road behind the Golden Key Motel, which was torn down in 2015, which you see on the Google Earth. It's torn down now. And this is around 3 p.m. They're walking around that drainage ditch. So one more quick time.
Mm-hmm.
This is the hotel right here. They are on this path. There's a little trail right here. And what you see here is a drainage ditch. This is where all the doo-doo goes. So, I mean, it's true.
Isn't that where the flooding overflow is?
Yeah, that too. But it's also, sewage.
Great.
So, in fact, when Hurricane Sandy came, it tore down a lot of the motels, including, well, not this one, but this one was torn down later. But
that was 2013, Hurricane Sandy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that that's the reason why this hotel closed down in 2013.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Can I just say real quick that the quote about finding the body had the same energy as the TikTok that I posted this morning in the Discord. Did you guys watch that?
No.
Have they banned that yet?
No.
Apparently not. Still around. Still hanging.
I'm not in the camp of banning it anymore. If people want their brains to fry, then that's their own thing.
What about security? Security.
I mean, whatever, dude. Fuck it. Two girls were taking a walk and they see a body in that drainage ditch. Now, that drainage ditch, as I'll mention a couple times here, that drainage ditch and the woman that was found in it, she was, quote, lying face down in runoff water filled with fecal matter and chemical waste. That's what That's from Fox News. Now, to keep in mind, not only is it drainage, fecal matter, it's also everything that, the hurricanes and storms kind of blow up in there, right? To kill someone and throw them in a drainage ditch is kind of a big disrespect.
Yeah.
Not disrespect, but it's kind of like you're lower than trash. You belong in the feces water.
I know we were talking about, the mob earlier, or a gangster. Is this a mob hit?
No, I'm not doing that mob stuff.
I know,
She's
but it
just
made me
asking.
think of that.
I don't know.
Sanitation, New Jersey.
You're automatically thinking that we have a killer in custody.
I'm not thinking that.
All right.
I'm just wondering if it was a mob hit.
I think it may have to do with gambling debts.
Ooh.
Two friends were walking along the dirt road behind the Golden Key Motel, 3 p.m., and they made that 911 call. Egg Harbor Township Police Sergeant Charles super name,
Super Trooper.
and Patrolman John DeFazio responded. Now, William M. Phelps, I don't know if you guys know who that is. He's a huge true crime author. We've done a lot of his books. Anyway, I didn't know this at the time. I didn't know this at all, but we've done a lot of his books, but I didn't know this, that his sister-in-law was actually murdered by a serial killer.
Oh.
An uncaught serial killer. But anyway, if you see any of his books, they're really well written. And anyway, this book we're reading tonight is actually written by two of the biggest true crime writers out there, Greg Olson and William M. Phelps. So
Cool.
Pretty cool. And you'll be reading from that book. I'm going to tell you what that book is here in a second, but anyway, the true crime author William M. Phelps, who grew up in this area, says about this case, quote, "If you are not from the area, you don't know it's there." He's talking about the drainage ditch. It's a great place to dump bodies. You saw that little trail that goes down, and just looking at the Google Earth one more time, like how many people are going to be over here? I mean, this is like an industrial park. This is where the woman's body was found, in like right here in this drainage ditch.
Yeah, it's like the road on the way to go to Atlantic City.
Yeah, exactly.
But there ain't nothing else really there.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're out here, and you probably most likely are doing something you're not supposed to, because the hotels over here are very low end, seedy hotels. Most of them are torn down.
Motels.
Motels. What's the difference?
Hotel, motel.
A motel is different than a hodel, because the motel, you have the doors on the outside, and the hodel is a building where the rooms are on the inside.
Which one comes with like the stiffest pillows?
Probably motels.
I like those, full of caked in
Nope.
seams.
Nope.
All right, this is the victim that was found. Can you describe this woman?
Oh, she looks like she's a mom. Is that her child there?
That is her child, yeah.
Young, maybe
30s, maybe?
Yeah, late 20s, early to mid 30s.
Blondish hair.
Does she look like she's a prostitute?
I don't think that's a fair question.
That's a leading question. So I would say from that photo, I would not have made that assumption.
No, I would not have either.
What about this one?
More of
Her
a
hair
model.
looks totally different there.
She's a model.
I like her sideburns or whatever.
It's like an 80s hairstyle.
Yeah, that looks like it's from a while
Or
back.
from Zoolander.
All right,
Yeah,
that's
Blue Steel.
35-year-old Kim Raffo, Raffo. She is a wife and a mother of two. She lives in Florida, or lived in Florida. She's 35 years old, born in Brooklyn, moved to Florida. And that's when she, in Florida, went from a PTA mom, Girl Scout volunteer, the soccer moms, like very highly involved in her children's education and everything else. She picked up a small drug habit, and that drug habit increased, and she ended up in Atlantic City, where a lot of drug addicts who want to find cheap and easy hits of whatever their drug is will go, because that's where it's cheap. So Atlantic City, I've never been, but this part of town, especially, I'm going to show you what they call the track. It's like two streets. That's where all the prostitutes and drug addicts hang out and walk. It goes hand in hand. So she picks up a small drug habit doing basic cocaine, and that turns into something bigger. I would imagine like an 8-ball. She started with cocaine, which is, dude, I've done cocaine. I'm not like doing meth. So I'm imagining she got cocaine mixed with heroin, which got her addicted. You know what I'm saying? And that's when she ended up in Atlantic City. So she basically dropped everything, a PTA mom, dropping everything, and moved to Atlantic City just to chase that high.
She left her kids and her husband behind.
Yeah, she left her kids and husband.
Kim was just this wonderful person who got hooked up with drugs and never turned back. Raffo's husband, Hugh Alsander, told me, "I tried repeatedly to save her, pick her up, and take her out of there, but she always went back to Atlantic City."
So her passion was cooking, and she started cooking school, and she was doing really well. But however, there was a young student in there that was alongside of her, a male interest. She started having an extramarital affair with this man, and this man introduced her to cocaine and heroin. Anyway, she was found behind the Golden Key Motel. She was dressed in a Hard Rock Cafe tank top, jeans, no shoes, and no socks. And she's found in the drainage ditch, lying face down in runoff water filled with fecal matter and chemical waste. Now, her head is facing east towards Atlantic City, which is going to become important here in a second. She was strangled with a rope, and she had a high level of cocaine in her system. She was found about 28 hours after her murder, and the actual back door of that motel that's now torn down, the back door leads directly in a straight line to where her body was found by these women. All right, what do you guys think of this?
Sad.
She was a prostitute. She was trying to chase that high, and that's all she cared about, and she ended up meeting the wrong guy. There's a lot of women that go through the story. We've done like literally half of our true crime stories involve these type of women, right? But I want to say the true crime author in this book talks a lot about that. So we're going to kind of reference it because his sister-in-law was also a sex worker addicted to drugs. So he knows a lot about that lifestyle because his brother was addicted to drugs and obviously his brother's wife, you know. So in this book, the author actually interviews several of these prostitutes trying to get a good idea of what is going on. And this is like one of the first interviews that he would do.
Looking at this woman, sizing up her life, I was brought to tears. Like many of the women along the track in Atlantic City, she has children, some of whom she hasn't seen in years. There is pain there, recognizable in her eyes, that runs so deep that no drug can numb its throbbing ache. I'm convinced it is why she cuts herself, and cutters are screaming for help.
So that's terrible, right? You have a mother turned prostitute found in a drainage ditch. That's terrible. So back to the police. They're documenting the body, and it's just two of them out there. You know, they're calling the homicide detective because she was strangled. She had a rope around her neck. They're also calling the coroner to do a profile on the body. And then the young sergeant patrolman looks over, and about 60 yards away, he sees something that catches his attention. And he sees basically another body.
Oh, no.
And the body is of this woman right here.
She's got to be like, what, 23, 24?
She looks young, yeah.
She's 20. But if you want to describe her.
She's got like blondish hair. It's pulled back on this photo. She's smiling in the photo. I can't tell if it's meant to be is it a mugshot?
I think that is a mugshot, yeah. I think it is a mugshot.
I mean, you can tell she's young. So 20, right. Yeah, 20 seems about right.
So the sergeant looks over, and literally another body right there about 60 yards away. And this body is lying face down in runoff water filled with fecal matter and chemical waste 60 yards away, right in the same drainage ditch. What? That's weird, isn't it?
Not a coincidence.
How do you know that?
Is it just a popular spot for random people to dump bodies? No.
Even if it was just a popular spot, I don't think it would make it a coincidence that there are multiple bodies there. It means that there either one or multiple people know about this place to dump bodies, so you're going to find bodies there.
Was the age of the bodies around the same, like the decomposition? Like, were they killed around the same time?
She was killed. That's a good question. She was killed 1 week prior to the Raffo murder.
Okay.
Yeah. So 1 week prior. That's Tracy Ann Roberts, 23, from Newcastle, Delaware. She worked on the track, which is South Tennessee Avenue and Pacific, trying to find that next hit. She was working, selling her body, and she was found wearing a red hooded sweatshirt and black bra. Toxicology detected a lethal dose of cocaine, but I also want to put in there that lethal dose of cocaine or whatever drug really depends on your tolerance level, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there was actually no sexual assault done to her or Kim Raffo.
Is it a moth?
No, I think it was the fly that I just flicked. It came back at me with a vengeance.
You take a shower once in a while.
He knows that was mean.
I showered this morning.
This is a lighter story than one last week.
So light. I don't know. The other one ended up being a happy ending. So, you know.
I mean, as happy as you can get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still sad.
It was sad, but I like
This is definitely a more lighter case. I had to take a kind of a break.
lighter, but yet there's not a survivor that we're talking about. So yeah, I don't know if I would call that lighter, you know?
Jen, I think you've had enough.
My ankle. My ankle. I'm just trying to pop my ankle in it.
Art says they have a sign that says dump bodies here. There you go.
Tracy Ann Roberts, 23, from Delaware. She was also working on the track, chasing that next high. She was found wearing red hooded sweatshirt and a black bra. And this is a little bit about her.
Everybody that knew her said that she was really nice, pretty young person that had her whole future ahead of her, remarked Police Captain John DeAngelis.
Here's where both bodies were found right here, and the other one was about 60 yards apart. Now, what's interesting about these bodies, both of them, they had their clothes on, minus the shoes. Neither one of them had shoes or socks on. Both bodies were strangled. Both bodies their heads were facing east towards Atlantic City. Kind of weird, right?
Yeah, both
Why is
facing
that?
east.
Yeah, why is that? Patrolman John DeFazio, he knew it was going to be a long day. They got two women here. The coroner's got to do his report, all of this stuff. He's got to go back and do this paperwork on these two bodies, and it's just going to be a hell of a day. But that's not why he knew it was going to be such a long day. The reason he knew it was going to be such a long day is because 60 yards away from the second body was a third.
Official serial killer. Ding, ding, ding.
Unless it's not the same killer. Most likely, yes, but
It's just, like Art said, place to dump bodies.
Barbara Breeder, she was found not even 60 yards away from the second victim. Her date of death was a week before the second one.
oh,
So now it's looking like
a series.
one every week.
Is this a Saturday night thing for said killer?
You just lay them out right there in the drainage ditch. She also had large quantities of heroin in her system. Now, she's a little different because she's 42, so she'll be the oldest of the three, right? She started from a great family. She just got mixed up in drugs. She actually ran her family's boardwalk jewelry store for a while, but had to moonlight as a cocktail waitress, and that's when she was introduced to cocaine, and that's when she got addicted. But her sisters remember happier times that she was, quote, raised in a very stable, loving home. But things changed with the sudden death of her father. And then she tries to pick up her life pieces. She actually gets accepted to Penn State University, but she failed out of her classes and started waitressing and became a mother. And that's eventually, like all these stories, she ended up in Atlantic City selling her body for drugs. She had been dead for 2 weeks, and she was wearing a blue jeans, long sleeve zipper shirt. And what was on her feet?
Nothing.
Nothing. No socks, no shoes. And her body was
Facing her head to the east.
facing east towards Atlantic City.
That's what I said.
All right, does anyone out there want to?
That's what I said.
Does anyone
Does
out there want to make some assumptions of? All right, so we got a serial killer.
A serial killer who has a shoe fetish.
Okay, shoe fetish. That's one. So a Jerry Brudos type of thing. What else you got? You already said
He had mommy issues
You already said
because he was killing prostitutes.
So he has mommy issues.
Yeah, he's got a problem with women.
I got mommy issues.
I'm glad that you also don't kill prostitutes, but you know, I believe there's some mommy issues here.
So I think that maybe this person was, having sex with the sex workers in that, like, as the sun was rising.
This was a Saturday night, or
that's the sun was setting, facing the sun. It has something to do with the sun direction.
He's poetic. He likes some fucking poetry, and would go. He's from probably Philly. I'm gonna say Philly
What
because
are y'all
it's
talking
closer.
about?
You asked for some assumptions.
You guys are like FBI
I'm
profiling
trying to
here.
profile. So I'm going to say they're from Philly because I don't think if you were living in New York, you would go to Atlantic City on your weekends.
You would if you were going to go kill someone.
True, maybe.
Because people from New York are not always fans of people from New Jersey.
All right. So now you got 3 dead bodies. There's no shoes, no socks. And not only that, all of the women, their heads are facing east towards Atlantic City. So it is a long day. However, the sergeant looks over once more and yet another body. So here's where all the 4 bodies are laid out.
Not very far apart.
1, 2, and they all go. So if the photo I'm showing you is of
Pretty
the
much a straight
location
line.
in the drainage ditch, but it's actually by week. So this was the one found
First?
Found first. Kim. she was found first. She died only 24 hours after she was killed. Or she was found 24 hours after she was killed. Here's the second one that died a week before Kim. This is the third one, and this is the fourth one, the most decomposed. All 4 bodies are facing east with their shoes and socks removed, and they're in a drainage ditch.
I'm sorry,
Military.
I'm not asking you guys anymore to make any guesses. That was not a good...
But I want to know.
What if they were? What if you're about to tell me this is a Philadelphia man?
But I just want to know why, why they thought it was a good idea to put all of their victims so close together. Are they asking to be caught because they need help?
They need help?
It's
What do you mean they
I don't
need
know.
help?
That's a good question.
What do you mean they need help?
Like, why would they put
Like they want help with stopping what they're doing. They can't stop. They need help.
No killer wants help stopping what they're doing. And where did you hear that?
But why would he put all the bodies in one location?
Well, maybe because he wants to revisit them and
But so close together, like
remark over his work. Admire his work. They're only a
Interesting.
week apart each. He could go down there and no one's down there ever. Plus, who's going to look in a drainage ditch?
Somebody eventually did.
And he's got them lined up. I was hoping you guys kind of saw that. He's got them lined up almost perfectly.
yeah, looks like that.
And
Except the first one is farther away than the other 3.
you would have made him a little closer, Jen? Is that what you're
Well,
saying?
no,
it's not like
no, I'm
evenly
not-
spaced.
Right.
If
The
that's what
first
he
one
was
is
going
the
for.
first one is like in her.
But they're not evenly spaced, but it's pretty good.
Right. Yes.
Because-
Totally.
Yeah, because
It's a straight line.
He didn't have like a
Measuring stick.
measuring stick, but he did a pretty damn good job.
So which way is? So are they facing this way or this way? Which way is east?
I showed you which way's east. So their heads are facing the motel over here.
The motel.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
So this is all 4 of them right here that were found. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it just abruptly stopped. So it probably stopped because obviously one was found. But he probably would have kept going, I'd imagine, and just kind of filled up this whole line here.
Could this killer be associated with a specific religion?
Did you come up with that yourself?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Brittany's theory is serial killer pimp, which I do think is a good guess.
Because if they take the shoes off, and wouldn't they like? Which religion is it? Where they take their shoes off and then they face towards?
Oh my God, Jen! It's the second biggest religion in the world.
Is it Muslim or Arab?
You're looking at me as a Judaism? I don't know.
It's not Judaism.
It's Islam.
Islam.
Okay, Arab.
I'm sorry, I don't know the right term. That's why I didn't say it at first. I didn't want to be insensitive.
Good guess, though. You did get it, apparently. No?
No, he was making fun of me because I didn't say the name correctly.
No, I'm not making fun of you. If you practice Islam, then 5 times a day you pray and you put your prayer mat down and you pray facing east, which is towards
The sun.
Mecca.
the sun. What if the sun goes west though, Jen? So if they pray all day, eventually they'll be praying towards the moon.
I'm just gonna stop talking. Oh my God, I'm gonna get canceled if I haven't already been.
You know what? It's okay to be incorrect.
Yeah.
You're not trying to be
No, I'm
insulting.
not trying. No, I'm not
I
trying
know.
to be.
You're not
But
gonna get-
people are insulted.
I like see. I'm trying to make you feel better. This is America. If anyone actually knows anything about another country, it's a miracle.
But we have Islamic people in America though.
Yeah,
so
they're-
that doesn't mean it's not your religion. So it's not like, don't be hard on yourself if you don't know all the details of somebody else's. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, Christianity is the
You're
one that
a human
matters.
being, Jen. You're a human being. You can get things wrong. You can be confused about where South Africa is versus Africa. Like, shit happens. It's okay.
I think the Christians and the Muslims should just fucking go at it.
Let's not.
All out war.
See, there you go. There's the that may be a little bit more on the problematic side, but that's fine. Anyway,
No, it's all right. I only know because I was there. And I had to hear
true.
that fucking bell 5 fucking times a day.
yeah,
5 fucking times a day. It was annoying.
it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. So, a lot of prisoners are also Muslim, practice Islam. That's what they call prison religion. So that's another.
It's a lot of prison
Why?
Christian too.
Huh?
Why
lot
do they
of
call
prison
it prison
Christian.
religion?
Because when you get in prison, you become really religious. Like
For whatever is
David
your fancy.
Berkowitz.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like super religious
Well,
because there's nothing else to do.
I forgot about that.
But, but you mean like because they find something to keep them occupied with their time, and
Yeah,
it may not
exactly.
necessarily be.
And to like maybe make them feel better about themselves for what they did because they're gonna
Yeah, like Chris
think,
Watts.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was
Like
thinking.
Jesus has already forgiven Chris Watts, so he's good. Just let him out.
Just
Just let them out.
So let's just sweep this one under the rug.
4 bodies are found. Police, they go through the bodies. 1 was strangled. 1 died of asphyxia. Just like the same thing. I don't know why they have, like the autopsy report says 1 strangled, 1 died of asphyxia. I think one was strangled with the cord still on. The other one was strangled with their hands, from what I've seen. And 2 were too badly decomposed to tell. Now, this is where I saw police in their press releases started putting out stuff like, well, you know, they all had a lethal dose of this, that, and the other in their system. So could it have been possible that, you know, these last 2, for instance, we can't even tell how they died. They're so decomposed. We can't tell if they're strangled or not. They're basically skeletons. Couldn't they just have been walking down there and overdosed and then died and with no shoes on and been pointed east? I mean, technically they could have, right? You can't tell how they died.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight we're reading from the book, The Eastbound Strangler. This is from William M. Phelps, and in this book, he actually interviews a lot of the prostitutes in the area years after this happened because it's still really well known in the area. This killer has never been found. He's killed 4, and then he stops. And as I'll show you in a little bit, most likely he just went up north a little bit because we have 4 bodies up north in Long Island that are remarkably similar to this span of murders here. And those also have never been solved. So we don't know how many this guy has killed or even who he is.
Oh, this is not solved.
At this point in the story.
I don't like that.
What do you mean don't like that? You're not a drug-addicted prostitute in Atlantic City.
No, I don't like the fact that there's a serial killer on the loose, period.
There's like literally hundreds of serial killers.
We've walked past serial killers.
I'm sure we have.
You guys have walked past me like, what, how many times?
You don't fear this guy yourself? I asked. I mean, there's a serial killer out there who hasn't been caught. He won't stop. He cannot stop. That doesn't scare you as you work the streets? More tears. She looked away, collected herself, then looked me straight in the eye. Fear. I don't have fear anymore. I don't know what that is. When you lose your sense of fear, I thought, you're finished.
So she also gave him a really smart remark, which is actually a really good, if you find yourself in this situation where you're selling your body for drugs, you can remember this. If a John pulls up to you wanting sex, look in his car. If he has either a baby seat, a tie, wearing a tie, or if he's wearing a wedding ring, it means either 2 things. Number 1, he's not going to hurt you. You know what the next one is?
He could strangle you with his tie.
She's saying that it's a family man. Baby seat, wedding ring, tie. The first one, he's not going to hurt you because he's got a wife. Second one is he'll be quick.
Well, I would say, though, just because someone has a wife doesn't mean he's not going to hurt a sex worker. I think that's...
I'm literally telling you what this girl had said.
I know, but I'm just saying.
She has done this a lot longer than any... I mean, she's probably done this for like 10 years. She's unnamed, but...
It's a quick way for them to assess the risk.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
He'll be quick and he won't hurt you. That's what she says. All right. I know this story's kind of light. I mean, light as in 4 dead fucking bodies in the drainage ditch.
I don't know if I would describe it as light. From the true crime author William M. Phelps, each female has been left along the slight bank formed along the drainage ditch just outside Atlantic City with her head facing toward the city. Each was fully clothed except for shoes and socks.
So the Atlantic County prosecutor, James McLean, said that, quote, from the facts gathered during the investigation, it could have been a local person or it could have been a transient. I told you at the beginning that the author of this book is from the area, and he says that no one would know this area unless they're from there. So, all right, let's mark that one off. They're from there, they're from this area, or they know this area well.
Okay.
To know that this drainage ditch is even back
there.
here.
Yeah.
Not only that, these ladies aren't working down the street. There's no business down there. Which
they have to be moved.
They have to be moved, which means either they were moved willingly. Hey, let's go. I got a hotel room at the Golden Key. Let's go party, do drugs. And they accept and they ride all the way out here. Or were they killed and then moved with a truck? If that is the case, that they were killed elsewhere and moved here, it puts a good point towards the fact that they were all strangled. Because if you strangle someone, you're not going to get blood in your car, right? So that's a point for that one, I guess. 200,000 man hours on this case, police man hours between 2006 and 2011. 200,000 man hours. Nothing.
And they haven't caught him.
No, they have no idea who it is. I will say, I did look up during this time when this murder first started happening, the Democratic convention was taking place. So I don't know.
A lot of people in town.
Maybe a Democrat.
Yeah, but still, you said they would have to know the area well.
Yeah, that is true.
You know, so even they may have taken advantage of like a lot of people in an area at the same time. But if no one's going to know where that drainage ditch is,
but
can I go back to my Islamic theory?
Yep,
that is a good theory. They did arrest a Muslim man.
Maybe, but I would say that maybe it wasn't someone who practices Islam and they were trying to pin it on the Islamic population.
Oh, interesting.
Like a right
wing. It was meant to be
a right winger.
Framed or something.
I will say what I did learn about this case I didn't know before. I mean, I did know, but not really. So the Democratic convention was big, right? Brings a lot of people. When a big event happens like that, that's when all the ladies come out because they know and they start walking. That's when you have a lot of them available.
That
right?
makes sense, especially with high profile politicians who are more likely to participate in those activities away from home.
Yeah, they got to do it somewhere where it's not, stormy.
That was good, John. That was very good. Touche. Cheers to you.
I have to show you a video later.
I hate all them fucking politicians.
No one is safe from us. You know, you can be the Clintons.
Another point of strangling. All right, and we've done cases with strangling before. The reason a lot of these killers want to strangle a victim as opposed to killing them with a knife or something is not only because it's up close and personal like we think. It is up close and personal. Right?
It's messy.
No, I'm talking about strangling.
Oh, it's not messy.
But you have this guy. All right, let's say this guy. What the fuck?
And no blood. You said that earlier.
It could have, maybe the first one was accidental.
Ooh, lost control. Was into,
Let's say
something.
Let's say this guy has a foot fetish. All right.
Okay.
He likes the feet. That would make him more likely to have other traits, sexual deviances, I would imagine. So if he's strangling someone and he doesn't worry about getting blood, he just wants to strangle them to be up close and personal. What is also like the best thing about strangling someone, like during it for a killer?
You get to see the life go out of someone's eyes.
That is good.
Fucking depressing. Yep.
That's good for a killer, but not only that, but you can throttle that.
You can control at which speed they die.
You can see that life going out, and then let them. Oh, that was close.
We have been doing this for way too fucking long.
The life is going out.
Stop.
Back and forth. You can basically relive the murder over and over and over. And the reason I'm saying that this might be the case is because why? Because the shoes aren't there. So he has a trophy. So if he's got a trophy, if he's bringing a trophy, the shoes, we know he's revisiting the crime in his mind, okay? Which, if he's choking someone, strangling them to death, he's basically revisiting that murder as it happens because they're almost going to die and then he brings them back. Then they're almost going to die and brings them back. He's basically reliving that in the moment. Pretty crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, is anyone still watching this shit?
Yeah.
Oh. They did arrest a Islamic man. Basically for the media. They never released
Make it seem like they made some progress.
Okay, so number one, the Islamic thing, yeah, all right. The head's facing east, that's what you think about, right? You facing towards Mecca. Because in Islam, you pray, you not only pray that way, but you also bury your dead that way. Mm-hmm. All right. And Islamic burials are very important.
Like it has to be within like 3 days of their death and things like that.
You have to bury an Islamic person.
Yes. That's why Osama bin Laden being thrown off the boat was the ultimate fuck you.
They threw him off the boat?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, he was thrown overboard. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He was buried at sea. He was buried at sea was the phrase.
He was thrown off the boat.
Sea.
Yeah. He was thrown off the boat.
Yeah.
So his soul would never be at rest. It was the ultimate fuck you.
So the final victim, I don't know if we talked about her, Molly Jean Dilts. She hit rock bottom. She was 20 years old, chubby cheek, perpetually smiling young girl with dark hair and a cheery manner. She was also a mother, and she went downhill when her mother died of heart failure, and then her brother unalived himself. And she tried her life as a fast food cook, but then she started doing drugs and ultimately started hooking. And she died a month before she was found.
From the Eastbound Strangler by author William M. Phelps, I mucked around that drainage ditch and along the service road getting wet with hundreds of ticks stuck to my jeans like prickers, not to mention snuggled clingingly to my arm hair snooping around. I was looking for some sort of reason other than the obvious as to why these girls could have been placed there, specifically, and why, if Molly had indeed been there a month, no one had seen her or any of the others in all that time.
Yeah. So all right, let's address this east thing right quick. This pointing east. As I said, in the Islamic religion, you pray to the east towards Mecca. You also bury your dead. Mm-hmm. But these girls aren't Islamic. They don't practice Islam. They're not Muslims. So why would a Muslim do that to random, hookers?
He felt guilty?
I mean, I don't know. You tell me. It's just it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I would think the fact is that he's trying to frame someone, like Jen said.
Yeah, that was a good point.
But then again, if you're going to, all right, let's say the first one was an accident and he goes out there and he puts her that way. Like, did he think of that? I mean, all right, so maybe he didn't mean to kill the first one, so he's just going to put her there. Is he going to consciously put her head to the east? Like, when I kill 3 more, I'll do the same and then maybe look like, I mean, that just doesn't make sense to me.
Brittany has a good point. They weren't really buried either. And serial killers also like patterns.
Yeah, so maybe it was more like an OCD thing that's where the first person was like put down. He didn't want them to like just look like they were thrown there. And that just happens to be the way that he put them down.
I mean, this was in 2006, right? So this was a height of activity in the Middle East too. So like, I think your framing point holds weight.
I know, but that means he would have to do the first murder and think of that.
Correct.
Because if he was, all right, let's say he just did one, that theory goes out the wayside, because if it's just one body facing east, like they're not going to make a connection that, a Muslim man did this. Like, it's just one body. Mm-hmm. But now since they're all facing,
there's a pattern.
Or exactly. It also could be one person who just happened to lay the body there, and then it could be a copycat.
I think that's too much of a coincidence.
Yeah, or a coincidence, or what's the word I'm looking for? Or just
serendipitous?
Serendipitous for the next person.
Bombastic,
Mr. Fantastic.
Good Shaggy song.
From CBS News. In fact, it turned out that all 4 victims were methodically positioned in the same bizarre manner, all facing east with no shoes on, no purse, no cell phone, no personal belongings. Captain John DeAngelis explains, it appears that these women were just killed for the sake of being killed. So there's a theory that was brought to light by Mr. Phelps, the author of this, when he interviewed a homicide detective. And about the bodies facing east.
Okay.
And I wouldn't think of this.
Okay.
So this is the drainage ditch right here. So this is the theory. So they were found here. Their heads were going towards this hotel. Which, if you were in the hotel and you're dragging a dead body, you're dragging it with the head facing west, because you're most likely dragging her with her arms. Mm-hmm. Not that I know from personal experience. But when you drag someone, it's a lot easier to drag her with her arms stretched out.
Okay.
And then your back gets tired and you got to take a break.
From the Eastbound Strangler by author William M. Phelps, the no shoes, no socks evidence is not, I am certain, a coincidence. But as far as all the girls' heads facing east, and that being some sort of ritualistic message, I am more inclined to believe, based on what law enforcement told me, that this is nothing more than a result of the tide and the water current flowing out with the ebb and flow of the water table, pushing all of their heads in the same direction.
That
so it's no
things.
Coincidence on that at all. I mean, it is, but it had nothing to do with the way the bodies were actually positioned originally.
I know, right? So
that's
the water.
Interesting.
I know.
All right, so like the whole Islamic path, scrap the whole thing. Irrelevant.
Well, scrap the whole thing. All right, let's release this Muslim from prison, because we don't actually
Still
have
in prison?
No. He was out. His name was never released. They just literally arrested like a random Muslim guy.
Just seemed like they made progress.
Like you said, it was the height of the.
Well, it sounded good until that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great point. I wouldn't have thought of with the tide thing. So, but shit, that's awful that somebody actually ended up getting arrested for that.
Yeah.
I think people see patterns that aren't really there. you know.
I mean,
People look for patterns.
It is real, but like,
You're assuming that serial killers are all like Hannibal Lecter, high IQ.
yes.
And that is not the case, dude.
That is such a great point.
Most of them are dirt dumb, like me and my family, literally.
Are you trying to tell me that you're a
you and your
serial killer?
family are serial killers?
Now, here's a good suspect that they did arrest at one point. And if you want to describe this guy's name is Terry Olson, and he has been the primary suspect the entire time, even up till today. I can get his photo here. This is him right here. And as his shirt...
Oh,
damn.
You would do something like that.
As his shirt says, off the hook, but he was actually on the hook for 6 months. He sat in prison for 6 months while they built a case.
Wow.
And then he was let go because they didn't have any evidence.
Well, why did they think it was this guy?
I don't know, man. Maybe I should have researched that. So anyway, what do you guys think about that? I'm just kidding. All right, this guy was a...
Oh, you're funny.
This guy, Terry Olson, is the prime suspect. And even though now he's very outspoken about being in prison while they built this case, he was basically held for ransom, what his attorney will say. But he actually worked at that hotel.
At the motel?
At the Golden Key Hotel.
Ah.
He was a maintenance man. And basically what that meant was, hey, I'll do some odd jobs for room and board. And a lot of these women go and party in those rooms. And he would later say he didn't know any of them. But I did see at one point, he said that occasionally he, quote, helped them out. But now you're saying, now this guy...
With drugs, you mean?
I don't
Is
know.
that
He
what
just
you meant
said
by
that.
that? You
With
think?
money, probably.
Now, this guy who was living in the hotel, he was actually living in the room where the first body was found. You remember how I said if you open the door and literally walk a straight line back
Yeah.
and 60 yards, you can put the body there. So all he has to do is drag the body straight out of his room. But why would he? Like, I mean, who's going to do that? You know, that doesn't mean he didn't do it. I don't know. Now, they arrested him. However, they didn't have any evidence. The reason that they pointed him out is because he actually contacted the police after the first body was found, because he said, and he went up to the roof and showed them that there was a shoe, a lady's shoe from one of the girls thrown on the roof. So he's the one that contacted the police and said, hey, this might help in your investigation. All of a sudden, now he's prime suspect number one. Now, I don't know if the validity of this or not. According to his attorney, he was framed. According to him, he was framed. According to the police, it was legit. But a search warrant was issued after he was arrested, which I believe was kind of gray lined because, as I said, they didn't have any evidence.
Right.
It was all speculation. Now, the police did a search on his apartment, and he was in the process of being kicked out of his apartment and living in this hotel full time. And they found a DVD, a home recording that he made of his girlfriend's daughter, which is 15 years old, like in the shower. So it was like one of those hidden camera things. He says that the girlfriend set him up, but I can't picture the mom taking a footage of her 15-year-old. I mean,
set up her boyfriend for what purpose? To extort him for money he doesn't have?
So I honestly think he kind of belonged in prison. Anyway, the hidden video camera, they found that, and that's how they held him in prison so long. His attorney said that they put a bond limit of $100,000 the bail, and that was ransom, basically. And they tried to develop this case, which never happened. And the police say he was never considered a suspect, but then why do you put him in prison for 6 months? Eventually, they did do his DNA and everything else. None of it matched. Apparently, he really did not spend any time with any of these women.
Interesting. All right, so that's a dead end.
So the one last source I have about this murder, a potential suspect, which we don't know who it is, was an interview with another local sex worker. This was done by the author, and I'm just going to read this. She said she had been in the hotel that night that Kim and the other two girls were murdered. Now, this woman has never released her name, but there is a video of her doing this interview. And she says that it was 2 black guys and 1 white guy. They were in the seedy motel room. They were all getting high on different drugs. And this white guy was, quote, sketchy and weird and acting strange. She looked over and she saw on the bed of this seedy hotel room 2 heads of hair sticking out of the sheet on the bed. She thought they were just comatose from drugs. Anyway, this unnamed prostitute goes to sleep, passes out. She's in her home drug comatose, wakes up. Those bodies are still there. Later on, after the bodies were found, she thinks about it and decides in her mind that those were the same women. All she could see is the hair. The hair matched. She thinks that those women were already dead under the sheets in that room, but she was partying in.
Interesting.
So, however, she won't actually come out with her name and anything because she's scared of the retaliation.
Yeah.
But they apparently do know the suspects. It's 2 black men and one white guy. However, this was only 4 murders here, and then the one in Long Island, you know. Anyway, she says, quote, they were still lying on their backs and they had a sheet covering them the whole time they were there. They never moved and only their hair was sticking out. And that's when she believed that they were 2 of the women that were found. The white guy talked about that how he wanted to massage her feet in exchange for drugs.
Oh, that's weird.
And she decided to leave and go to another motel, but one of the guys stayed behind because, quote, I need to take care of something. So, I don't know.
Interesting.
And that's the case. That's all we got.
Wow.
I know it's kind of light today, but, you know.
That's crazy. It hasn't been solved, especially if there may be other like patterns not terribly far away.
Right.
A couple months later, there were more bodies found up north in Long Island, and they think it's the same killer. He just got scared after that body was found, and then he moved up north or whatever. So I don't know. Obviously, these cases, they don't really hit home because, you know, these are women of the night, streetwalkers.
There's like drugs related to it.
There's drugs related to it.
Feels a little
occupational hazard. I mean,
still sad though. It's still like, I mean, no. You know, I get that they've got problems, but nobody deserves to die.
Yeah, but that's also why you're never going to see it solved, really.
It's a good, but unfortunate point.
Yeah. Plus, I mean...
Were the ones in Long Island also prostitutes that were murdered?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Yeah.
And in fact, I want to bring one point up. There is a connection between the girls.
Really?
The last body, Kim, the one we started with, she was really good friends with the first body found up there. So there is a connection there.
Interesting.
So they think that
coincidence or connection? I don't know.
I mean, they think that a lot of times these girls will, you know, if a John's like, hey, you know, I've been doing you for a while. Do you have any references to other girls? They can, you know, kind of like pass them along to their friends type of thing.
Interesting. I would not have guessed that that's a thing.
No,
Brittany goes, it was the pimp. So it could be.
Dude,
good
I didn't
point.
see that they had pimps up there, man. I don't know if they do.
I don't know.
I mean, because it seemed
idea.
like in this story, they were just walking around the streets. I don't know, though. I want to do something light. I know that was real light, and we got those 2 requests coming up that we're going to do. And I also, like, literally did a whole freaking research thing on this gangster, and I don't know how I'm going to present the story because I don't know if it's real.
Well, you can compare notes with your second book that you're going to read on it, apparently.
And that was super annoying, and it literally took up, like,
I'm sorry.
a lot of the week. So.
It's okay. We'll make it up.
Was
on
it a good
Tuesday.
story at least?
It's a great story.
Well, at least you
can't
enjoyed
wait
it.
to hear it.
Oh, dude, I can't wait to tell it. Anyway, we're going to be back on Tuesday for you guys. And like I said, I have 2 stories. Brittany's story, I'm going to get done. And I also have another story, which I interviewed one of our good friends for who knew a killer. So we're going to do that one as well. And that's it for today. So we'll see you guys as Primos back on Tuesday, right?
Sounds good.
So that's all I got. Anything else?
That's it.
Well, until next time, good night, you lovely, lovely people.